asked in the past couple of months, Nick Pellegrini. And so we have at least two openings on the board. There may be a third. I haven't counted recently. So if anybody out there is interested in joining the Zoning Board of Appeals, we are looking for volunteers, candidates, and applicants.
I think I have someone.
So please make your
Talk to her.
recommendations known to town
Well, I'm supposed to meet
clerk.
with the selectmen to see if they're gonna reappoint me sometime this month.
If they don't, we're in trouble. I suspect you'll be reappointed. You've been a very dedicated member. Okay, the next thing is mail received by the board, and I don't think we have any particular earth-shattering mail. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, wasn't there a letter from George?
Let's see if it's in the
And
package.
it came like 3 months ago or something. It wasn't in the package.
No, it wasn't in the package, and I don't have it handy, and I do think that the topic that he was writing about has already been dealt with. I could be wrong, but
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think it already went before the planning board, and we were asked an opinion. I personally answered him as a tax-paying resident and not in my capacity as chair, and I was commending him for his concern for the town and how much he tries to oversee and speak out about the best interests of the town. I also wanted to comment that we have tonight
Oh, I remember that letter.
requirement to vote for the approval of who can sign invoices. If you recall, the invoices go out and they need to be signed and sent back. And I think in the past, we voted president and secretary having authority to sign invoices to get them paid.
Who's our secretary now?
John.
John.
And he and I are both local and available to get there fast, so I think that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And it may or may not be time for election of officers, but maybe we don't have that on the agenda, maybe we should do that next meeting if we have a next meeting soon. I'll just keep that in mind.
Can we talk, well,
Go ahead.
we should take this gentleman, but I would like to talk about unintended consequences
Of,
of zoning bylaw changes.
well, let's take
It
this
is-
gentleman first.
Yes.
It is 7:10 PM, so I'd like to call, why don't you call the case, you like doing that?
Oh. I don't have glasses. Case 23966, 236 Taylor Street. The petitioner is John Curran. He's James Curran, and he's seeking, I didn't have glasses. He's seeking a variance / special permit pursuant to 173-31 to reduce side setbacks, install a fence, and other such business that may properly come before the meeting. Would you like to come forward,
Now
sir?
you can put your chair up with you so you can sit
You
comfortably.
can just
and
sit, you don't need to stand at the podium, just bring a chair up and sit and.
And James, you can lean your paper right on our table. We're not gonna be formal.
It's nice to have him
Come up, yeah.
closer. We'd have him sit at the board, but it would look wrong.
There. So, you know my name. Oh, I'm not going to win any prizes for being graceful today. So it's Jim Curran, 236 Taylor Street. And this petition is kind of a rerun of something we did 2 years ago. Our property is immediately adjacent to Sanctuary Medicinal's property.
Thank you.
At 234 Taylor Street. We have a long driveway. It's approximately 400 feet from Taylor Street to the edge of my house. The Sanctuary Medicinal's property previously had very little industrial-looking construction, and 2 years ago, we had a permit to put in 176 feet of fencing along the whole area where they had put in those big air handlers. Last year, the Sanctuary Medicinals folks had to replace their septic system. So the construction proceeded up a little bit past where the where the prior fence had stopped. And so there's changes to and damages to the trees and vegetation in that area, making the appearance of that side of the property more industrial, and it doesn't really look great. So I talked to the operations manager, Nick Satmary, and we talked about options. They were considering putting in arborvitaes, which in my neighborhood is deer salad. So that really would not work. And I had gone to Cataldo's and spent some time with them thinking about other vegetation options. We really couldn't come up with anything. So I'm trying to extend the fence by putting in an additional 104 feet of fence, starting within about 10 feet of the end of the old one, because there's a big tree in the middle, and then proceeding 104 feet up towards Taylor Street, thereby masking off this somewhat industrial-looking aspect of Sanctuary Distill's plan. The operations manager, Nick Satmary, has agreed to fund half the cost of the new fencing. So the variance that we're seeking, the facts are very similar to the last time. So topographically, we put the fence on our land last time because there really was no place that it could be put on the 234th Street property. They have boulders at the edge of their property which are the size of golf carts, big boulders, and there's a very steep slope down into that. There's no place to do the fence. We asked for the ability to put the fence right up as close as possible to the property line because the 40-foot setback would have put it on the other side of the driveway, the 10-foot setback would have put it right on the driveway. And to allow it to be 8 feet tall to provide privacy relative to the industrial appearance of Sanctuary Medicinals. We also asked last time that the finished side of the fence face us, and that petition was granted. So now the topography is a little bit different, but the challenges are the same. We can't really put it on their side because there's a rock wall at the property line in a forest. The setback issues are the same. 10 feet would put the fence in the middle of our driveway, 40 feet would put it on the other side of the driveway and the valley. We're seeking 8 feet as opposed to 6 feet for privacy screening, and we're seeking that the finished side of the fence face our residential property. And I think those are all the relevant facts. Can I answer any questions?
How far from the road will the fence stop?
Approximately 300 feet.
Oh, good grief. And then you said the fence is going to be 8 feet tall,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to put it right up against the property line.
Yes.
Perfect. And it's basically the same as this other fence that we already granted.
Yes.
Same design?
Different vendor, but they've said they'll try to match the other one.
So
But yes.
the new fence is going from where the old fence ended toward the back of the line, away from Taylor Street, or
No,
toward Taylor Street?
towards Taylor Street. There's a map that should show it there.
Yeah, I think the map's wrong.
Your first fence didn't start
On
at
the-
Taylor Street and go inward?
Fences
No, the first fence
in here
starts
someplace. It's going
right across from my garage and goes down toward the end of the lot.
So is the first fence highlighted here?
Oh, I see.
Oh, I think it's the, that's
This
why I was
is-
asking the question.
This is his first fence here.
So the first fence, no, this is, the first one, may I draw here?
Of course.
Okay, it starts right here,
There's a tree, so
and
it's
it
got a
goes
space.
176 feet this way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one is not even visible from Taylor Street. This one, this ends this from here to here is between 250 and 300 feet, I think. So this is the end of our driveway. This little reed square right here.
Yeah.
Is this enough, sir?
Enough fencing?
I got to tell you, and this is my personal opinion,
Yeah.
you carry a heavy burden being next to this particular industrial user. And I would grant you almost anything you wanted.
Well, don't give him anything, because he's got political views. No, I'm just kidding.
You could have, because I understand the smell's gotten better lately.
Well, I met with the operations manager a few weeks ago, and he subsequently told me that he had tracked down a problem with the seal, and he addressed it, and the smell is 90-95% gone away.
That's lovely.
So it was one seal somewhere in that big,
It's
complex.
sad that it took them a couple of years to do that.
yeah.
What's the smell come from?
The
Well,
marijuana.
The
marijuana
marijuana farm.
cultivation itself.
They're next to the marijuana plant.
Before you sit, and I don't want
Yeah.
you to be uncomfortable, excuse me one second. This is the marijuana cultivation facility. This is you, correct?
Yes, that's right.
You have no other abutters over here,
That's right.
just this one. And is this a commercial zoned property?
Yes.
And is this a residentially
Yes.
zoned property?
Yes, it is.
And who owns this property?
This is Ben and Brooke Mullenhoff,
Okay,
and there's a letter in here from the last time around where they supported this.
okay. And then who owns this property?
I don't know.
And is this commercial or residential?
I don't know, because the distance, this whole area here, up at, where's the street?
This is the street, Crane, and this is Liberty Taylor.
Oh, that would be the,
Taylor and Crane, and this is Liberty Square right here.
Yeah.
It's not really
I
important to me, except I want to know if that is in their sight line, that's all.
I do not believe there's any house here. The houses are on these lots.
That's what I thought.
This is, to my knowledge, this is nothing but woods.
Yeah, okay. And these people don't have a house toward the back here that your fence is going to, not that they want to see this either, but they're going to be looking out their bedroom window at your fence if it's an 8-foot-high fence. I'm just curious about that.
Actually, this, let me see. So there, we have a shared driveway.
Yeah?
So their house is roughly here.
And yours looks like it's further back. Well,
My house is roughly
Roughly there.
here.
perfect. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
and the
Okay.
new fence
And
is
then-
going forward of that.
And then there was a letter from, Benjamin and Brooke Mullenhoff the
Right.
last time, which is in 2020,
Right.
that says we're the closest neighbors impacted by the proposed 8-foot screening fence between lots 234 and 236 Taylor Street Sanctuary Medical. We support the request for a zoning variance for the installation of the fence. The zoning variance would allow our neighbors to place the screening fence at the edge of the property rather than having a 10 or a 40-foot setback. So I would imagine that they're not going to have a difference of opinion now, especially since the fence is going a little further forward, but it's for the same purpose.
Right. We see them all the time.
Yeah.
We play with their kids in the dirt, and they're fully supported.
Great.
And this property over here is the McLeods. This is fenced, so they can't even see.
They can't even see it. Okay,
Yeah, over there.
great.
And of course, this is Nancy Morrison, and she would walk over hot coals to get me a variance.
To get you a variance?
Yeah.
So this is called a sanctuary, but it's a marijuana growing facility?
Yeah.
Correct.
And do they grow out or in greenhouses?
Oh, it's a building within a building, so all the cultivation is completely sealed off from the outside. And they have special trucks that deliver the products to their own stores.
Did you ever go to the site? You should drive to the
Yeah, I'm
site.
thinking I should now, because I
Oh, you
didn't,
should.
it said sanctuary, I had no idea it was marijuana.
They have
But it's a sealed
huge-
building, so it's
Yeah,
all artificial light and the rest of it.
I'm
And
just
they have
curious,
huge
just
air
for-
handlers supposedly to take care of the smell, and it had never seemed to work, but I'm
When-
happy to hear it is
When
now.
I went to your property the last time you were here and drove down your driveway and got out of my car, I got a contact high, I think.
No charge for that.
Well, you know, I don't have a particularly strong sense of smell, so,
Fortunately for them.
well, we now have some, this is hilarious. There is an application, you can put it on your phone, it's called Smell My City. It was developed for Pittsburgh, and now it's been released to the wider world, so it's on my phone. So when I was having problems, I was logging the smells. But then, whatever Nick did seems to have largely or completely resolved the problem.
That's terrific,
Yeah.
but it is sad that it took him a couple of years to do that.
Well, I do want to commend you on being a good neighbor, because I would have been huffing and puffing and jumping up and down, and it sounds to me like you worked through
You're a very
process.
reasonable man.
Mhm.
Well, I have a funny story. My graduate degree is in psychology. I used to run halfway houses for people with very severe mental illness. And after a particularly bad episode where somebody got drunk and punched a wall, one of the residents said to me, "Well, you just can't get mad at Jim. He's too reasonable."
I would like to make a motion that we or ask for a motion to close this hearing.
I so move.
Second.
Does anybody have further discussion before we vote it?
I think that this is really just an extension of what we approved before, and if it was me, I'd want the whole property line fence.
And I'd probably be screaming at them to pay for it, and I probably would have showed up at the Board of Health meeting demanding that this fence be part of their costs of installing a new septic. I would have been much, much less reasonable.
I do like your deer, your deer analogy. Okay, so I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor of granting the variance as requested?
Oh, I thought that was to close the hearing.
That was to close the hearing.
I did close the hearing. Oh, motion to close the hearing?
Yeah.
Excuse me, before we close, I'm sorry. I do want to just go over what the variance criteria are to make sure he met it. And so he has to convince us that owing to the soil shape or topography, he has a condition unique to this property that doesn't affect generally the same zoning district, and that he's entitled to relief because of some hardship. And I think that was very clear in his presentation. Does everyone agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So now a motion to close the hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. Hearing none. The hearing is closed. And then I'll take a motion on the variance, please.
I make a motion that we grant the variance as requested. Grant for case 23-966 regarding 236 Taylor Street, that we grant James Curran's petition for a fence as presented.
8 foot high,
Sure, 8 foot high.
approximately how long?
104 feet?
104 feet in length, to extend from the,
Existing fence.
Approximately, because
Well,
there's a tree
it's
there,
the-
but close to.
it's
That would
the
give him 110.
well, he's got a plan here. Easterly side, the easterly terminus of the existing fence, extending easterly another 104 plus or minus feet.
But he said he had a tree in there of 10 feet.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be right
So we need-
at the last fence.
Right,
It doesn't say that.
Okay.
Wouldn't that-
I just want to make sure he's not off by 10 feet because of the tree and has to come back and see us again.
My wife will plant something in there that will grow. And it'll be fine.
Yeah, do we have to mention the finished side toward his property? Or?
Yes, please.
The finished side to be towards 8 foot tall, extending 104 feet past,
More or less.
more or less, past the existing fence, and with the finished side facing his property.
Okay, thank you. Second that motion?
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for
Made
your
my day.
presentation.
We didn't take any input from the abutters.
Okay, I think that concludes the business before this meeting, and we can let our IT people go home. So does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
So move we adjourn.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.